your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what good you say? I doubt it will stand up to something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can listen to me on this wonderful show on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, all over the place. I'm doing stand-up, guys. I just came back from a weekend of shows in California. Actually had a blast. Was expecting a liberal hellhole, and what I got was some pretty awesome shows with some pretty based audiences. So thank you, San Diego and Pasadena. That was great. Got more shows coming up. It's not my website yet, but I will be headlining 2 shows at the Grizzly Pear in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, Saturday, March 25th. I'm going to put those tickets in my website as soon as we're done here. Then I'll be in beautiful, exotic Staten Island, Friday, April 7th, headlining the Reef in Paradise Island. Sounds exotic. It's not. It's Staten Island, but I'm excited to go. Then I'll be in Morris Plains, New Jersey, headlining Tiff's Ale House, also known as the Dojo of Comedy. That's on Saturday, April 8th. Then I'm heading back to Texas. My love of Texas. I'll be in Dallas May 5th and 6th. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday at Hyenas. And before that, I'll actually be in Vegas April 27th. Tickets are not on sale yet, but as soon as they are, I'll let you know. And that will be in conjunction with the Friday Night Tights meetup. Then Dallas for the Cinco de Mayo weekend at Hyenas with Lila Hart opening for me, by the way. Love Lila. She's like, I'm obsessed. She's fucking hilarious, this girl. And a great hang. Then I'll be at Anime Matsuri in August. That'll be August 10th through the 13th. Simcast will have a booth and a panel at this convention, and I'll be headlining that same weekend, Friday, August 11th at the Secret Group. Consider this kind of an unofficial after party that Friday of the convention. If you know you're going to be there, just get tickets. We'll all hang, and then it's early enough we can keep drinking after the show. Does that sound good? I think that sounds good. Then I'll be in Richmond, Virginia, I think at some point. I got to stick that date in there too. Always adding more dates. That's right, because I like to do jokes and stuff. Okay. I'm very excited to have this guy on the podcast today. You may have, who knows, you may have seen one of his viral rants. You may have seen him on InfoWars. He's kind of all over the place. He's kind of one of these famous sort of internet personalities. And I met him in person this past weekend in San Diego. He's an absolute delight. I'm so excited he's here today. Matt Baker, hello.
How are you doing, Chrissie? You're looking fantastic in your Slave to Liberty shirt there, I must say.
Yes, somebody gave me this shirt over the weekend, and I was like, of course I'm going to wear it. Look, we're matching.
Yeah, I like that. Let me adjust my camera here just a little bit up there.
Yeah.
Get some headspace here
You
for you.
designed these shirts. This was I want to get your origin story, because some people, they'll see it, the viral video of you, and they'll think that you're just like a homeless vagrant or something. I think you're a very misunderstood man on the internet. So here's you were featured on the Young Turks. This was one of your first rants. This was a year ago. Man goes nuclear in anti-mask tirade. I remember seeing this and I was like, oh my God, I'm loving this. I didn't like know what your deal was. I still don't know what your deal is, but I was like, I love it. I loved your passion. And similarly to Alex Stein, you can really get noticed at these board meetings or city council meetings just by being passionate and standing up for what you believe. And I don't know how much of this was like a bit of a performance or how much of this is like actually you, but I guess this and your Maricopa County Arizona Board of Supervisors rant are two of your most viral moments. I kind of want to know, I guess we can rewind it back a little bit. How did we get to this moment where you're having these viral rants? Were you like a lot of us, did
Was
the
I beaten as a
pandemic and the
child?
were you beaten as a child? Yes, you need paint
A little
chips.
bit, just a little bit,
Were you
Had
kind of
daddy issues, perhaps.
politically
Um,
aggravated before the lockdowns and the pandemic?
yeah, I mean, let's get into it. So, overall, just to clarify, a lot of people, they're like, it's a school board or it's a mask rant or whatever. And while I am totally anti-mask and, people need to be active in their school boards, this is actually the Board of Supervisors, and they were trying to enact a vaccine passport in San Diego. And it was a real possibility because LA had just enacted it, and I was up there protesting it up there. And I just couldn't believe that we were actually going to live in a world where I would have to prove I'd been injected by some bullshit to go out to a restaurant. I like to go out and eat, as most homeless people do.
You're not homeless, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
That gets
You
us
at least
back to
have
your rant the other night
you at
where
least
I
have
had
a
to get
computer.
yeah. We'll get into the show the other night, which was hilarious, by the way. So yeah, I was, once the whole COVID thing started happening, and I just saw the levels of propaganda that were going on, and I could see how mind controlled the people were being, and I could just see that nobody I knew was actually getting sick. And actually,
Mm.
at the time, my lady was actually in the hospital with a very serious condition, and nobody was allowed in the hospitals. But I had certain paperwork, and I'm a very persuasive person,
This
and
was
I was able to.
what date? When was this? Was this like March
This was
2020? Early on?
January, February, March, probably March. Yeah, the peak of the peak, they were calling
Okay.
it.
It
It
was
was the peak
popping
of the
off.
peak of the pandemic, because there was the peak and then there was the peak of the peak. And so I was in the hospital for 2 months during the peak of the peak, and there was nobody in there at all. It was
Wow.
totally empty. And the security guard's like, "How did you get in here? Like, I can't even get in to see my mother." And so like I said, I'm very persuasive. I have a very strong will, and I had some paperwork drawn up, medical proxy stuff, and I had my methods. Anyway, I got in there and I saw behind the scenes, and even some of the doctors, one or two of the more based doctors, were actually saying, this is really not as bad as people are saying. And I was talking to the drivers of the ambulances, and they're like, "It's really, there's nothing going on. I mean, we don't know what's all this about." And then also, being a so-called conspiracy theorist, aka critical thinker, I had heard a lot of counter stories about the actual deadliness of it, what was really going on, and I just, regardless, was not willing to become a slave, basically, with the slave mask, and just sit around in stores and be on 6 feet in plexiglass and this whole thing. I'm just like, this is completely ridiculous. The more and more I got into it, I noticed that all of the people that were marching with me, and anti-mask people, would go to these local boards and yell and scream at them. None of us were ever getting sick. In fact, I would say none of us ever got sick at all. It seemed like it was the least sick anyone ever been, until they brought out that damn so-called vaccine, the mRNA gene therapy. Then I did see people getting sick after that. Now, whether they're getting sick directly from the vaccine side effects, or I don't know what they were putting in it, but I don't trust them. And I certainly am not going to get a vaccine passport, because that's what the New World Order wants, okay? They want everybody to prove, it's like a mark of the beast type system, where you have to prove you're vaxxed, or that you have a certain credit score, social credit score, like they do in China,
Yeah,
before
your
you can
digital
actually.
ID, your whole life is
Exactly.
online. It can be shut off at will.
That's right.
That's what they want to be able to do with all of our cars, our bank accounts. I mean, like, people I know have already had their, I mean, OnlyFans girls that I know, girls in the adult industry, have been getting their bank accounts shut off just because, and it's always Chase Bank. A Chase Bank doesn't want to be associated with how certain people make their money. So they just want to be able to take that to a much larger scale, and maybe they don't like a tweet you put out, or maybe they just don't like a rally that you show up at, and they could, once they have the ability to do these things, it's only a matter of time before.
Yeah. Like Laura Loomer
shut us
supposedly
down.
can't even use an Uber, like they have it down to that level.
Really? Wow. Yeah, I know some
Yeah.
people. What, Lauren Southern's parents couldn't use Airbnb?
Right.
It's
Even
wild.
her parents, they're like, "Oh, you're related to the person who we don't like." It's like, well, what do you want me to do? Bump them
Yeah.
off, and I'm allowed to have an Airbnb now?
Like, people with
Funnily
spicy
enough,
takes still need to take vacations, okay? Like, they still have money to spend.
yeah. So actually, that's funny. I was going to bring that up right before we came on. I don't know if you saw it because you mentioned the car thing. Did you see Ford has just? It was on the regular news. They're like, Ford has just filed a patent so their self-driving car can repo itself.
I saw that. Yeah, turn
And
itself in if you
yeah,
miss payments. Like, yeah,
and then
okay, sure, that's
and
what
then
they'll
they
use it
go on
for.
to say it will start by lowering your comfort settings. Like it's so like, no, you can't have AC, you owe money. No, we can't have the seat warmer,
Ugh.
you owe money. No, you can't have the radio. I mean, this is psychotic stuff,
It
right?
sounds like
I
my
mean,
dad, actually. It sounds like my dad being like, "Really? It's too hot? Like, stick your head in the freezer. Oh, you're cold? Put a sweater on. Don't touch the thermostat." Like, we
yeah,
don't pay
no,
bills
it's
here.
and if you think they're not going to misuse all that ability, they will. That's what they're going to do. I mean, in San Diego now, we have this board. It's called SANDAG. It's like the San Diego Association of Governments. And normally, the mayors of each county are supposed to be on this board. But here in San Diego, good old California, we have this thing coming down that they're trying to charge us per mile, every San Diegan, 5 cents per mile we drive. And my question is, how do they enforce it? Like, are they going to be tracking us the entire time? And then is it like if I'm in a car with someone else driving, am I getting taxed too? Or if I have 5 kids in the car, are they all getting taxed? Are we
Yeah.
paying 25 cents a mile? Anyway, so there's one guy. He's from one of the local mayors, got voted in pretty much landslide, and he's like, well, I'm going to stand up against this. And so they went against all history of allowing that mayor to be in, and they're like, well, we're just going to vote in this other lady who fits the bill. She's fat, she looks a little weird, and she's got the whole like, well, for inclusivity and for the people, and well, they asked her about the 5 cents a mile, and they're like, she's like, well, it's just one of our tools that we can have for the people. It's like, it's your tool. She's not even in power yet, and she's already talking about her tool taxing every single person per mile in our county. Not only that, just to go off on a freaking jag here, we're in San Diego. These bastards. They went along and they're pushing this whole like getting rid of your gas stove thing here too. So this whole agenda 21 2030 thing, the New World Order, what they've got going on here, World Economic Forum, it's not a joke, people. Okay, they're actually doing this. All these local governments have already been co-opted. They already paid off. And if you actually go down to some of these meetings like I do, or let's say Alex Stein does, you might just be going down for a joke, which I wasn't, but Alex Stein kind of has his comedy bits. You'll see these people, like if you go, the one I went to in Arizona, they act exactly the same exact talking points, same exact cadence. It's creepy. They're running the entire country through these board of supervisors.
And if you think about it, like the push to get you off off a gas stove onto an electric one, the push to, like, I mean, I think at this point a lot of people have smart fridges, or think about it, like, think about what they can do when all your appliances are smart. They can shut them all down. Like,
Well, my buddy, I mean, it just happened in Arizona when I was out there. I go out there and I remodel his house. He has this big old mansion. And every once in a while he wants me to do some remodel, so I end up going back and forth to Arizona every once in a while. And it was one of the hottest days of the year, and they just turned his thermostat. they're like, nope, you can't have it. He had it at whatever 71 or whatever. And they're like, no, it's going to be 80. Because they're in there sweating away because they've decided on their smart meter that they're going to decide what your temperature is going to be.
I think they tried to do that out here in New York, but like we were able to override it because we noticed it. We're like, huh? And then we were just like, beep, boop, boop. Nope. That's interesting. So you've always been a free thinker. You've always been a conspiracy theorist. You've always kind of not trusted the government. You've been kind of wise to the ways of the globalists for a while. So let's see. I'm gonna play this little clip of you walking around the grocery store in your mask.
This is where the slave to liberty began.
Yeah. So this is God. This is OG pandemic days. This is May. This is like right in the swing of things. May 15th, 2020 here.
Go to the store in California.
Are you born and raised California, Matt?
Yeah, I was actually in England and Ireland for a small period of time, between the ages of about 5 and 12. Though.
Oh wow, you really got rid of your accent.
Yeah, you can hear it every once in a while.
Oh, when you drink, it comes out. All right.
Donning my New World Order slave mask, and I gotta say it's actually been pretty cool because I'd say I don't know if half the people were like, yeah man, that's what I'm
My internet
saying. It's freaking bullshit. So at least if you're wearing the slave mask, then you can at least protest while you're doing it. So I was finally capable of leaving the house and entering into Stupidville. But I can already feel myself ready to pass out now from breathing carbon dioxide. And I just sneezed all over the vegetables because this stupid mask made me sneeze. So it's working perfectly, I must say. Go slaves.
So
and you had some people nodding at you, like
yeah, like
blowback.
The first day that they had the mask, it wasn't even a mandate. It was a mask. What do they call it? It was like a recommendation or something like that. I had what could have been the first ever super viral meltdown. I was at the post office, and some idiot tried to call the cops on me. He's like, "This guy's not wearing a mask." I'm like, "It's not a law. Screw you." I'm like, "You're a freaking." And I went off on this guy so hard, and I recorded the whole thing, and I uploaded it. And this was before this became a thing, right? So my friends were like, "We're really worried about you. You should delete that." I'm so pissed. It was day one. I was fucking pissed. Can't find it anywhere. It's not on any of my backup drives or anything. So that beautiful moment, the original.
Yeah, it's not a law, and it was never a law, but they really wanted to keep us from buying groceries and living our lives. I remember, like, initially I wore it, and then I was like, "Oh no, this is such bullshit." And then you do start to realize, like, this is not required. This is not a law, and you just start testing it out, like not wearing it, seeing what happens. You're like, okay, dirty looks, people yell at you, but other than that, like, nothing happens. So we kind of kept that going.
Certain states, you're here in San Diego, California. I mean, you would be surrounded like by people and yelling and screaming to where it's like, if you really wanted to stand your ground, they were calling the cops, and you could film it and go viral if you wanted to. But if you just wanted to go to the grocery store and get some food, you pretty much had to wear. And so that's why I wrote slave on it. So everywhere I went, as I was talking to people, I'm like, this is fucking bullshit, and I'm sick of it. So that I actually blow glass too. I used to, you wouldn't be able to tell, but I smoke a fair amount of weed back in the day. And
no.
And I made some glass pendants, yeah. So that with the idea of the liberty and the slave mask on it. And then after I did that, I was like really proud of myself. I was like, wow, this is real art. Like, this means something.
Yeah.
So I hit up my buddy who's like a graphic designer guy, Mike McCarley, and I said, can you make me a t-shirt design that goes along with this motif? And so that is when the slave to liberty was born. And that's
wow.
Yeah. And then after that, I ended up going to rallies and meeting all these patriots, and I got involved with music videos, and I made my own music videos, and I had, this is before the major rant that that's Allison Steinberg there.
This is Allison Steinberg. Oh, she's a reporter for OAN.
That's right. She was OG. I got her on InfoWars way back in the day, and
so this is
these,
this is her modeling this. I didn't realize at first.
all these hotties wore my shirt. This was like a 4th of July of 2020, I believe. 2022.
Wow. And what musician is this? I mean, who's the rapper?
It was put to mask off. I'm not really into rap. I was just
yeah.
This video for me, so I was like pretty pumped. This is actually, again, weirdly enough, it's like every time I'm like back and forth between Arizona. So the when I was at the store, that the reason why I was like really struggling with it was because in Arizona they weren't pushing the mask. Like, you didn't have to do it. So I thought, okay, I'm out of town for a month working on this remodel. Hopefully, maybe when I get back, this will have mellowed out, but it didn't. And then I actually got banned off of Instagram, and I was all bummed out in Arizona working on this job.
What?
For posting like anti-Fauci stuff, or like I lost my YouTube channel just for saying the word hydroxychloroquine one time. I said hydroxychloroquine as a joke in the Trump voice. I'm like, who knows what's going to happen to Trump now that he's got COVID? I mean, he could be dead already, or he could come out and be like, I took hydroxychloroquine, and me and Melania are tremendous.
And then he did.
They deleted my entire life of YouTube. I had.
And when was this?
20. I don't know, middle of whenever the whole
2020.
Doctors, frontline doctors thing went down, because when they were talking about hydroxychloroquine, that was like the number one thing you could not talk.
This was still during the pots and pans era of we gotta bang the pots and pans for the nurses.
Oh God, and all
the same nurses who got the boot when they wouldn't get the jib jab.
Yeah. The mind control was just unbelievable, man. It's like it reminds me of going to your show the other night. It's like a trauma I try to push back.
Oh no.
Yeah, I actually
wait, I definitely want to get into this show. So you started going, what were some of the first rallies that you started to go to when you were kind of getting involved?
Actually, at the time I had my anti-mask brand, and I created the whole new page, Slave to Liberty, and I was looking up other anti-mask people. There's Ethan Schmidt, anti-mask, and then some people I ended up becoming friends with people around the world, because there were so few and far between that there was like little crews of people around the world that were anti-mask. Like there's what's his name, Ramisi Music in London, and Smokin' Joe Mikhail in Australia, and all these people were like sharing videos back and forth with each other. But in my local area, I could literally find not one single person that would stand up with me. So I looked into some just different pages, and eventually this protest came up in Huntington Beach. And that's when I went up and I met like a lot of the Huntington Beach crew, and Allison was there. And then ended up going to LA protests for the vaccine passport up there. And then some other protests, a few actually in Huntington Beach. And then finally, I met some of the San Diego crew while I was up there. And then they're like, well, we actually have this little contingent of people, and we're going to these board meetings and addressing those guys. And so then I eventually I did go to a school board meeting one time, and there was a particular lady, and she's like, your voice is really passionate. We need you to come to this one particular meeting. And then I went there, and there was a big giant rally outside, and everything was great. I was bullhorning the building, and I had a great time, like with some fellow patriots or freedom fighters. And there was over 100 people in the building ready to address the board of supervisors.
Wow.
And, well, what am I going to say that these guys aren't already going to say? So I was like,
was it this video here? Yeah, this board of supervisors meeting.
Almost didn't go to that.
This was the one right here, right? This was your first.
That was the magic moment.
Board of Supervisors meeting featured that guy,
That
who's
guy.
right beside me,
Matt
who
Baker.
is essentially not interested in complying with mask mandate.
No, no one is.
Gotta watch this video, so let's take a look.
You're blowing in the wind.
That's the wind. That's the wind of time. That's the wind of history. That's the wind blowing through your ancestors' bones, begging you to do the right thing.
Did you write this out or was this improvised?
No, I freestyled it.
Oh my God.
Sir, can you please
That is
for
the
the audio
wind
record?
that
Sir.
Matt Baker is calling upon from Ocean Beach.
You hear people laughing. That's great. Oh my God, are you wearing the same? You're not wearing the exact same. Actually, yeah, you are wearing the same shirt as you're wearing right now.
It's not the same one. It is the same color because I like
Okay.
that visibility action.
This is great.
The wind that is blowing through the black people, through the white people, through the Chinese people, through the Mexican Americans, to the people that built this building with their bare hands to raise up this nation. They are begging you, and they are blowing through your veins, and they should be putting a tingle up the spine of your back, and they should be begging you to do the right thing.
How much time did they give you to do this? Did you know your allotted time before?
It's supposed to be 2 minutes. I think I went over about 14 seconds.
You blew the light. Is there a light? Do they give you a light?
There's just a little, it goes pop, 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 and then like, excuse
Okay.
me, sir, your time is up. Excuse me, sir, your
Beep.
time is up.
They beep you.
You're about to open a pit of hell. You do not get a vaccine passport put on us. You know, as the population who's in control, you know that the people who are the politicians, once you get a power, you will never relinquish it. Do you think that the 4 feet of marble that holds you above high in this chamber will help you from the fate of humanity which you are unleashing?
Were people scared of you? Like, what kind of looks were you getting?
Well, the people in the audience were stoked, actually.
Yeah.
I was speaking for them. The board was pretty scared. Actually, I ended up getting banned from one of the local hospitals because the lady who works
Banned from a hospital?
Well, one of the ladies there, because I said you're in violation of the Nuremberg Code, and the penalty for violating the Nuremberg Code is death. She took that as a death threat, and so she was afraid for her life, and she ran with the local.
You said you were just being dramatic. You know, it's just a performance.
No, actually, that's where you are wrong, my dear. I was 100% serious. This is not an Alex Stein thing. As much as I can have a good time and be friendly and funny and get berated at comedy shows, this is really how I feel about this. I mean, I felt, and I still feel like we're teetering on the edge of total tyranny. I mean, the point I'm making is once they get this vaccine passport installed and fully once they get it and everybody's used to using it, they'll just keep adding things to it, and it will literally be, like I say, a pit of hell. I mean, imagine living in a world where you just literally can't do anything, or they'll just turn your vaccine passport or your social credit score off. I mean, this is total nightmare system. And it had come to LA, and it was coming to our town, and I was standing there as the breakwater. And when I said to them, do you think that the 4 feet of marble that hold you above high in this chamber, if you see them, they're on these little marble forms, and they consider that to be some kind of threat. But I said, your children and your children's children will be subjugated. Once you allow this level of tyranny to click in, it's just because you signed the bill and you think you're in control. Well, your children are going to have vaccine passports.
Right. Don't they think of that?
Yeah, no, apparently they don't. They think it's funny, and they all think they're in control, and they are all basically doing the bidding. These people, they speak the language of the World Economic Forum. Every time you read like World Economic Forum talking points, the next week they're there passing rules and local ordinances and stuff that to have to do with this. Like, whoa,
They
we
get
need
all the talking points down.
we need our 15-minute cities. We need to have
Yeah.
equity. We need to have our transgender. They're like giving money to transgender surgeries, and they're like creating
Yep.
all these
In your
weird
state, there's a
programs.
trans stipend that people can collect.
Yeah. And we're only one step behind San Francisco. Like, we're just barely eking out. San Diego used to be a pretty conservative town because of all the military and stuff that are here. But because of, probably emigration a lot. And then also, as we've come to know from my Arizona rant, they're literally stealing these elections now. I mean, they're doing it in broad daylight. The voting machines are out of control. Like, so no,
Borrowing,
I really
fortifying. Yeah.
deep down inside. I mean, I can turn it off and have a good time. But when it comes to looking at the enemy in the eye, and especially when I'm sitting there in their presence and I can see how much they really don't give a fuck what the people say, and they really are going to do whatever the fuck they want, it makes my blood boil. And as I look into their eyes, I unleash my
And
actual,
you do that as you're delivering your lines, like you look right at them.
yeah. I'm looking into their souls. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm trying to save their souls too. They just don't understand. It's like, just because you're some Russian commissar doesn't mean when communism fully comes in, you're going to be saved. It's only next week before
Yeah.
that they don't
They
need.
probably think, we've been able to get out of them. Probably we'll get our kids out of them. They just think that they're above it all.
Yeah, they do. And it's time that the people stand up against them.
I'm going to play a snippet of your Maricopa County, Arizona. So you traveled for this.
Well, like I said, I was actually out there doing a job.
Okay. You were already out there.
The eyes of the world are upon Maricopa County for another botched election. Am I here to accuse you of stealing the vote? Heavens no, for that would make me a terrorist, wouldn't it? Let me ask you, if you took your life savings to a bank and the teller put them in a machine and the machine kicked out 1 out of 4 of your bills and the teller said, don't worry, we'll put them in box 3 over here and we'll let you know how many were in there later. We'll send them off to a separate location and someone will be sure to get back to you and tell you how much money you have. Would you be okay with that? No, you would not be okay with that. Now ask yourself the question, which is more valuable, your vote or your money? Now ask a lobbyist that same question. Now ask a campaign manager that question. Now ask Mark Zuckerberg that question, which is more valuable, your money?
I imagine this was shortly after Zuckerberg came out and said that he had been meeting with the FBI, or Facebook had been.
Well, a lot of the people there had been saying that they have what's called Zuckerbucks, and he pays different candidates in kind donations, which are somehow he has some loophole to give these money donations to different candidates. And then also when you add in the fact that the advertising and the shadow banning that goes on for conservatives on these platforms, supposedly you're supposed to give equal and fair representation on these platforms. Like if you're on a news network, you can't, just post one. That's the way it used to be. It's considered an in-kind donation if you're giving free advertisement to people. And then, like I said, if you look into these Zuckerbucks, it's some special loophole that he has where he's funding campaigns and funding legal. Supposedly he's funding the legal campaign of the county to fight against the lawsuits that are going up against them. And if you watch the news, the when they actually went into court on this particular issue, like this is exactly what they did. It was 60% of the locations on the day of voting could not accept the paper ballots because, no offense, the dumbass Republicans were like, well, we're all going to vote on the day of. And they go, great. well, we're just going to vote ahead of time, and then on the day of, we're just going to snafu the entire day of voting. And even beyond that, they focused it to where only the heavily Republican areas were actually having troubles with these ballots.
I'm sure that's just a coincidence, Matt.
Sure it is. Okay, and so when they are actually on the stand, they caught this guy in the lie on live TV, and he still got away with it. So here's how the lie. So they go, well, what was the problem? Turned out there was 19-inch ballots, I believe it was, it was printed 19-inch size on a 20-inch ballot. So like if you print a fake dollar bill and you shrink it and you try to put it in a vending machine, it's going to read it wrong. It's like, that's not the right pattern. So all of the Tron dots are off. So it spits it back out. And then you go, oh, you sit there going back and forth trying to get your thing to scan. And they go, oh, that's okay. We'll put it over here. Like I said, 3.
Wow.
And then when they took box 3, all of this is directly in broad daylight in the court case that they actually had. They actually said, so did anybody count the ballots before they left the location, before they got taken to this McTech place? So they go, no one did. No one voted. No one counted them before, and no one counted them when they got there. Only after they got there and they shuffled them around through their system did they count them. They're supposed to have an actual chain of custody with these ballots, and so they completely voided the chain of custody. 60% of the voting locations in the heavy red areas were shut down. Then they asked the guy, would you know anything about this 19-inch ballot problem? He's like, no, what do you mean 19-inch ballot? I don't know what you're saying. Then on day 2, I made a whole video about this. Day 2, he's like, well, we did know about the 19-inch ballot problem. I mean, actually, we knew about it. They knew about it since the Trump election, if you remember, Maricopa County again.
Wow.
They had known about this 19-inch problem. And so apparently it's like a running joke. You just go, oh, in your area, you just change the setting when you print out the ballots and print out 19-inch ballots on 20-inch paper.
Damn, it's so easy. When you explain it, you're like, it's so easy to fuck with.
Yeah. And then it was all proven. And the guy, they said, well, you have to prove that there was intent.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, well, there's no way they can prove intent. But then when the guy came out and admitted that he knew about it ahead of time and then admittedly covered it up on the stand, that's intent right there. I made a whole video about it. Carrie Lake and her crew actually retweeted my thing hundreds of thousands.
Oh, wow.
The video that I made, because and it's crazy because nobody actually looks at these things. So it's like I watched the whole, like, I forget, 6 hours or whatever. I was like, okay, there's the money shot, there's the money shot, there's the money shot. I cut the whole thing into a 2-minute, 20-second video for Twitter, and nobody else had bothered to do that. And it was like, they were dead to rights, but the corruption is so deep in these counties, and now it's coming out supposedly. I don't know if you've seen recently that a bunch of the candidates, including Katie Hobbs, has like 3 houses that are supposedly.
All right, hold on a second. I want to just play the rest of your little rant here before we get to.
Or your vote, or your country, or this world, or the corruption that is taking over every single county in this nation. And then you look into your own soul and you look back at yourself in the mirror and realize that you are the cancer that is tearing this nation apart.
Oh my God, that's so intense. Woo! All right, did you get a lot of backlash from these viral rants? What are your DMs like? Are people coming after you online?
Could make it sound cool and say that, but not really. I mean, the only really negative stuff I really hear is from the like nightly talk shows like Colbert or like Trevor Noah or those guys. But when they bring you up, I'm like, sweet, they can talk all the shit they want.
So Colbert featured your rant. That's awesome.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg talked shit about me. I was like,
really?
Hey. Yeah, Kevin Hart. So I was like, I made it. These guys are talking shit, but they played the video anyway, and so it doesn't matter because I get through. So when the original went viral, that's the first time I ever like hit into the zeitgeist of the human, mind. And it was freaky, like, because I would turn on the TV and I'd be on the news and then I'd be on Colbert Report, and then people, I was all over the place, and it was like really freaky. And then a certain amount of people were like hating on it, and then eventually it got ratioed. If you look at the videos, like so many people like, I think he's right, fuck yeah, he's the man. Like people telling me to run for president and shit. So I'm like, I can take a little bit of hate. You know what I mean?
What does your like family think of all this? Like,
what's that?
What does your family think of all this? Like, were they surprised to see this happen, or like, are you guys all on the same page, kind of like politically?
Well, my family is not as large as you might think. My mom is dead, and my brother is dead.
Same.
And
Oh.
father moved back to Ireland, and so basically the only person that really matters is my lady. And as much as she voted for Biden, she gets it now, and she really sees
He
it,
understands now. Oh, wow.
supports me, so it's good. And so
Oh, that's good.
people do need to be able to still get along with recharts. I mean, Democrats.
Are you still a glass blower?
Yeah, I am.
What kind of stuff do you make? And you're not actually blowing into the glass. That's probably a misconception. It's like you're like moving it around, right? I've only met one other glass blower in my life.
Ball right now.
Okay.
Here's
Oh, wow.
and this is like my torch, and this is my kiln.
Wow.
This
That's
icicle
cool.
has Ashley Babbitt's ashes in it. You can believe that.
What? How did you get Ashley Babbitt's ashes?
Well, her husband actually lives in the sorry, so haven't been blowing as much as I've been. There's a copy of the Nuremberg Code right here. I was looking for that earlier. So back to my beautiful studio here in sunny Southern California. Can you see me still? Because I think I fucked up.
Yeah, it's pointing. You're good now.
Am I?
Great. Oh, actually, it's a little lower.
I just can't see you at all.
Tilt it up a little. We can still see you. Oh, and he's gone. Whoops. He'll be back. Just we lost Matt. He was showing us a little tour of his artist's lair. He'll be back though. That was pretty cool to see. Hi, Matt.
Yeah. So yeah, so I got the ashes from Aaron Babbitt, Ashley Babbitt's husband. He actually lives right down the street from me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, actually, after I went viral, I was on InfoWars, and he saw me out at the local restaurant, and he's like, "Let me buy you a drink." I was like, "No way, let me buy you a drink." So that was pretty crazy. And then, he had just gotten the ashes of Ashley Babbitt, and I was actually working on some glass pendants for my lady's mother, who just recently passed. And I threw the idea at him, and he liked it. So I went ahead and did that.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
How did you get on InfoWars? How did you hook up with those guys?
Well, actually, I had actually been on just as a call in. I called in the show a lot of times, and then actually I think maybe my first I think I got Allison Steinberg on there before I even got on the show. So I would call back and forth, and I knew some of the producers. And when Allison went viral with her coffee rant, do you remember that?
No. How do I? And I know been on the show. I just don't remember her.
You've had her on the show?
Allison Steinberg, yeah. Allison at Large.
Oh, really? I missed that.
I did it. It was like a couple months ago.
She just covered the protest the other day that we did, and I was in studio with her. That was before she was a big time, and she was just a really cute girl that hated masks and lockdowns on Instagram. And so I was like, I love this chick. She's super awesome. And she had a rant where she goes through the Starbucks coffee window, and she goes, she's like, They're like, you need a mask. This is in LA. This is how bad it was. They wanted you to have a mask in the drive-thru
To go through the drive-through.
to get a coffee at a fucking Starbucks. Okay.
When was
So
this?
and just same time every fucking thing was. It was
Okay,
I don't know,
okay.
April, March, April, May, June.
I'm just always
Right.
interested to see like how late in the game they're still keeping this up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, in California, they kept it going for quite a while. Yeah. But she was definitely ahead of the game. She was not one of the Johnny come latelys, into the anti-mask world. This is like right when it was starting to pop off, and like I said, I was like meeting up with the people in the global community and starting to go to these things. And actually, this is before I actually met her in person at the. I might have heard about the things that were going on up in LA because of it. But so she had this video, and because I was in that movement, I was like sharing, anything that was anti-mask, anything like fuck Fauci. And so then up pops this like cute girl in her car, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is fucking bullshit! And fucking drive-through." She's like, she doesn't really sound like that, but just had some.
That's just your standard hot girl voice, yeah.
Yeah, patented hot chick voice, right? She's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I can't fucking." She's like videotaping herself, and she's all hot, and she's like, "So, I need a mask to go through the drive-thru. Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "Well, I can give you a mask." She's like, "So you can hand me a mask,
but
so
not
I can go
my
through
order.
the drive-thru, but you can't just hand me the coffee." And she's like, "What the fuck?" And it was like so classic. It just went. It went pretty viral.
Oh, and now
And,
I
at
am
that time-
remembering it. I do.
And then
remember
at that time, I hit up Scott from InfoWars. I was like, "Dude, I could get this chick on your show if you want." And so I parlayed it into. I sent her one of my shirts, and I had her go on the air and rep my shirt on the air.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
like one of the first times my marketing genius was kicking in.
That is what's great about being outspoken about this stuff is like you really it's easy to connect with similar people and you don't feel so alone, number one. Number two, you have someone to join you kind of in the fight,
Yeah. It's nice to hear your soft, lovely voice.
Instead of my harsh stand-up comedy voice. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
can we
talk
get
about the
into
comedy show because Matt, I feel like Matt, like we heard each other. So Matt comes to I like knew who you were, of course, and like we had been
Yeah.
Twitter following each other, and Lila was like, "Oh, Matt Baker's coming to the show," and we're trying to figure out which show you were gonna come to, but you came to. God, I think the Saturday 7:30 show. It was the sold out show, I think. At the
It
mic
was sold.
drop in
Oh,
San
it was
Diego.
thick in there. There was not an empty seat in the house.
And you're sitting right in the
was
front row.
packed.
Of course, I recognized you because you're very recognizable. And I didn't realize that this was like the first comedy show you'd ever been to. And so
Not ever.
Really? It seemed like ever. Okay. So I do a lot of crowd work in my set. I weave my material. Oh, really? We're gonna put in quotes. I weave in my material with crowd work. I go back and forth, and I do that for 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes more than an hour. And Matt's sitting right in the front, and I'm literally like, we're doing jokes about his dreadlocks. Do his pubes look like his dreadlock? Like this is all like, some of it's rehearsed, some of it's spur of the moment, and then you're kind of getting chattier and chattier with your friend that you brought. And you kind of were like, you were being loud and you were kind of like speaking out. Like you maybe thought that, I don't know, I was trying to figure out like what kind of heckler is this guy? Because there's really only two kinds of hecklers in the world that I experience. It's like the drunk chick that needs attention. That is like it's bachelor party or whatever, or I was thinking that you were falling in. Now I think you're great. You and I were cool, but in the moment I was like, okay, you're the second type of heckler, which is like drunk guy who thinks he's hilarious and think he's helping the show. Because you were like yelling things out, and then I explained to you after the show. I'm like, no, Matt. Like, if a comedian asks you a question, you answer, but like, don't yell random things out. You're just like, you kind of interrupted me one too many times, and it was like there were 5 minutes left in my set, and I finally just yelled at you. I was like, buddy, come on. I was like, I don't go to where you work and then disrupt you to like 5 feet away. I like went off, and I usually never ever like to do that because if I ever address a heckler, I want it to be funny and light and upbeat, and I never want people to I don't want to make it not fun.
Yeah.
And obviously I yelled at you, which like brought it all to a screeching halt. And then the room is tense, and it was like nobody, it wasn't fun for anybody. And then I slowly had to like get it, because the energy goes, and then you have to get it back going again. You got to like tell a couple of quick jokes, and then I just was annoyed because I'm like, I feel like you were confused about how what is stand-up comedy, a way to conduct yourself. And then like at one point the manager came over and talked to you, and so I was like, I was just didn't want them to dress.
The first one was like, don't address her if she doesn't address you. But then you addressed me, and I was like, well, what do I do now?
I just didn't want them to drag you out by your neck, and because some comedians don't tolerate any of that.
Okay, she's struggling. You're just gonna have to ride this one out. But from my perspective, I thought you were totally hilarious the whole time. And yeah, I probably did think I was the drunk guy helping the show, because I was like, oh, these guys know me, and like I'm funny. And then I had been to the one show I had been to was JP Sears. And he actually put my original rant on his show, on his channel. It got over 1 million views. And when I went to go see him in San Diego, he brought me backstage and we hugged. And he's like, you're the shit. He did a whole segment on the show about how cool I was and how people need to stand up. So in my mind, I thought maybe I was still in that world where I was like,
in that world.
Cool guy.
You are a cool guy, but you heckled the shit out of me, and so I was unable to. Yes, you were.
I was not. Anyway, I had been drinking quite a bit. I thought it was funny.
You're doing a loud stage whisper to your friend. You're like, anyway, I'm like trying to set up a joke. It was so distracting.
From my perspective, you just kicked ass the whole time, and once you lasered in on me, all I could do was laugh, because I was like, it was so painful. Like as you were,
I yelled at you for talking, and then you went immediately back to talking loudly to your friend, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I was like, oh my god, because you were grilling me so hard in my mind. I was like, okay, this is like I'm being roasted, so I'm gonna have to just take whatever she gives me. And I just sat there just getting pummeled. But I did have an asshole transplant, and I'm feeling a lot better now after getting ripped a new one.
I'm sorry you felt like I was roasting you pretty hard, but
it was good though.
I was angry.
So
I never get angry on stage. I fucking lost my shit. I taped it. I should probably clip it. I'm gonna see if I can clip it if it's funny to clip.
Oh Jesus, you recorded that.
But,
so good.
I'm so glad you came. Maybe I should.
I thought you kicked ass the whole time. I'm thinking you should have your crowd. What do you call it? Crowd work, aka pummeling people and tearing a new asshole. I think you should do a whole
just a set of that.
A DVD, no, or not a whole set of it, like a DVD or something of your best. Just
a special. Best
Chrissie tears a new asshole.
And just I don't want to be an asshole terror. I don't want to be known for ripping. I always want it to be funny. Ultimately, I always want to be funnier than I am cruel. I never want to be more cruel. But I was so fucking triggered.
I felt bad. I felt bad in the end. I was like, man, I didn't want it to go this way, but I was like in the headlights. I was like, what do I do? I was like, she won't let me go. So I was like, just keep laughing. You can't let her break you. You can't let her break you.
It was really fun. Oh my god. I think you were in that show where the girl was trying to out her brother. Like I was talking to her and she randomly said, you should make fun of my brother. He has a huge forehead. I don't know if that was your show or a different show. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, sir, your forehead is fine. I'm like, if anything, your nose is too big. And then it was like,
man. I think that's what I was saying to my buddy. Yeah. I'm like, man, she is good at this. I'm like, this is like crazy how good you are. Just like crowd work, they call it.
Thank you.
Yesterday, I actually, before the show, I listened to a bit of your last podcast about, it was Julian Assange? I think was that the last
yes, one? With Misty.
Yeah, and you're like,
swear to God, I remember her name, Misty Winston.
You're like, how can these military people be trained to be just so cruel and just to kill people at will? I was like, well,
Like, that's the training. That's like,
that's the
oh,
comedian
you're
training.
saying because
It's
you
like,
felt like I was being cruel.
yeah,
Yeah.
just death. Nobody will be funny. I will destroy all.
Pummeled
I
you
didn't
with
think I was. I
jokes.
did think I was adding at some point to the show, but apparently that didn't work out. My buddy explained it to me later.
He did?
But,
He explained it to you?
yeah.
Okay, good.
I guess I'm just. I don't know. I've been like being treated so well by people, and I thought like I was going to be treated like celebrity. Or something.
You thought
I thought you guys. It's like my buddy.
I'm used to being treated well by people, and then I go to your show and I heckle a bunch, and I don't understand. Where's my
Everyone's like, "We love you. We love everything you're doing." You're like, "You're a homeless bum. You eat out of a can." I'm like,
I never said you ate out of a can.
You did.
I don't think I did.
I had to come back with it, Chef Boyardee, though. This is nothing but the best.
I don't think I ever said you eat out of a
believe you
can.
did.
I'm
I
gonna
think
listen
so.
back to my set, but I think that's a randomly low blow.
We're gonna have to burn that set. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy stuff in there. Let me hear it before we can release it.
It was a rage moment. Chrissie is very
But
funny.
you guys were
but
killing
still
it.
gets
I mean,
nervous.
plus
She
I
likes
was
doing
so
good.
on a high after. I was on a high after Lila went on. And then Lila gave me a big hug afterwards, and I had hung out with her before in the past, and I was just like, "I'm a buddy."
I was a little bit avoiding you right after
we're
the
the
show because I was
homies of-
still mad, and then I came
Yeah.
around. I was like, "Hi, mad."
But here we are, friends
Here
again.
we are, BFFs.
I'm so glad this worked out, and we can
This was great.
we can get back in the game.
Stellar Odyssey. This guy dodging accountability like my ex-girl.
I said it was probably my fault. I did.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it was I shouldn't have freaked out. And
I'm not a
it's both our
professional,
fault.
you know. I don't know
both our fault.
the exact rules, and as you can see, like I'm kind of a loudmouth in general, so
It was a battle of the loudmouths. Yeah, I'm only really a loudmouth on stage.
yeah,
So
yeah. You sound so nice here tonight.
I'm normally very sweet and nice.
Yeah, I know.
Wow,
when
Matt,
it first turned on,
right.
when I first clicked on, you're like, "Hello, Matt." I was like, "Oh my
Hi,
god,
Matt. Who's this
Hi.
person?
Thank you for tuning in."
It is a different person. I'm sitting down and I don't have
Yeah.
I'm not on a stage.
But I gotta tell you, if anybody wants to go, if anyone likes to, wants to go laugh their ass off, literally, and if you really want to see the wrath, sit in the front row and just
talk during the show 5 or 6 times and then wait.
Oh, I'd like to think that you crushed it anyway. From my perspective, you didn't skip a beat. So
okay,
good. From your head, I know how it is sometimes when you. Like if you're even on an interview and you just like get stuck on a word, it's like an eternity in your mind. You're like, oh, everyone's like, I didn't notice it, but in your mind, it's just like, oh my god.
So have you become a bit of a regular on InfoWars now?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I've probably been on, I don't know, 12, 13 times physically on the show, and then I've had my different pieces, and I'm to the point where today I just Owen Schroyer, he does the War Room. He was talking about something today, and I had this particular video I took earlier the week. He was talking about wartime propaganda, and I had this video I took of my local gas station. They have an effigy of Putin hanging like in front of the gas station. And you can put money in this this jar, and you can beat Putin up for money.
Oh my! That's
really
so
creepy.
Lame. That's so cringe, actually.
Yeah, and so I sent him that video, and within like 3 minutes, it was on the air. He's like, "Oh, I'm playing it now." So, not that I can,
cool.
But if anybody, have you ever been on?
Yeah, I hosted the War Room once for Owen, and it was like it was pretty exciting because they're like, you got 3 hours, and I was like, wow, and I just invited like all my friends in Texas. I was like, Nerdrotic, Quarter Black Garrett, Lila, and Brittany Venti. I was like, everybody, just come on, we're gonna party. It was in September. It was last September.
That's weird. I listened to the show so much. I don't know how I missed that. That's really weird.
It was just that one time. So
one day.
Very missable. And yeah, I've called in a couple times, but that was so exciting. Like that was really great. And then after that, I went on Alex's show the next day. And after we were all done, I'd well, actually when I did the war room, because I remember when we were done, I just took a picture of me sitting on the InfoWars desk, and I just posted it with like a tweet under it saying, my stripper name is Sandy Hook, and I got more shit from that than anything in a couple of years. Like, people are like, she's a Sandy Hook denier, she's making fun of dead kids, and I'm like, actually, I'm not. If anything, I'm making fun of stripper names. Like, you people are so fucking retarded.
Well, speaking of which, here's the Alex Jones's
Yay!
book.
I have mine right here.
Right?
And the
Reset and the War for the World. This is actually my my first. I've got one that's signed, and I actually gave Allison a signed copy, but this is my regular unsigned copy that I can.
It's really nice of you.
Yeah,
I
got
think you
that
signed
for
mine.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there if you want to learn about the New World Order and what they're up to, and how they actually write books on it, and they've written all this stuff down. Like a lot of people, they think Alex Jones is a prophet, but in fact, he's just literally read what they say they're going to do, and then he goes, "Look, they're doing it," and people are like, "How does he know?" He's like,
most people don't read it or don't know where to look.
Yeah. And they think they just don't take him seriously or whatever. Like when Bill Gates tells you that the population of the world is just too many people.
It's hard to take him seriously when he has a disgusting body. I'm like, Bill Gates, you have all the time, all the money in the world. Like, get yourself to a gym. Like, you could buy a gym. You could literally have the Bill Gates gym. Like, I don't understand when rich people are not in good shape.
Body transplant. You know. And then you got Fauci and you got Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab up there talking about you will own nothing and you will be happy and the world
bugs.
The cyber attack will be worse than COVID-19. and then it's like, you start seeing these guys and then you start seeing what's going on. Like, oh, they said there was a cyber attack here. And
that's why I'm surprised that Klaus Schwab hasn't jumped on the like food in a bucket bandwagon. Like, why don't they have the New World Order brand, like the emergency food buckets, like prepare, like the like, why don't they sell? I mean, they fucking know what's coming.
With a Klaus Schwab on the front of it, like a KFC
merch, like New World Order merch.
Let's brand that. I like that idea. You could probably talk to Alex.
Klaus Schwab branded bug spread or something, and it's like,
dude, you should do it. You could probably talk to Alex and figure out whoever does these Liberty food buckets.
Yeah.
You ever see that on Howard Stern where they make
World Economic Forum food bucket?
They're all the Liberty food buckets.
Yeah,
the Howard Stern bits are so hilarious when they make fun of Alex. Like, he plays them on the show. They're so good. Pity Howard Stern is a total sellout. I used to like that guy.
He got rich, he got lazy, he got comfortable, he disconnected from the people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people. It was a big problem during the COVID. A lot of people that you thought you liked, like Robert De Niro. I used to love Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is a great guy. Love his movies, tough guy. And then it's like, oh god, this guy's a total sellout bitch. And I can't watch. Every time I see him as a tough guy now, I just don't buy it. I'm just like, no, you're a bitch. Just ruined it for me. Same with what's that guy? The
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, or what's the Rappaport? The guy. he's like he got hit in the face with that snowball the other day or a few months ago. Nobody cares what you want to say. He's like gets beamed in the head with a tennis.
I have no idea who you're talking about. Maybe somebody in the chat would know.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Anyway, another one of these so-called tough guys. You got what's his name? Spicoli, Madonna's boyfriend, going over there with
actual Spicoli from. We just watched Fast Times last night.
Yeah, what's his name? The actor. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Madonna's ex-boyfriend, the guy who goes over and jacks off Zelensky with his
Spicoli. Who plays?
I know it, but I blocked it out of my mind, so I don't have to think about it.
Dated. Sean Penn.
Sean Penn, yeah.
Wow.
He's all about global warming. And he's all about the war. He gave Zelensky his Oscar. Did you see that?
Ew, really? Ugh. Yeah. They're all just
so that he could get his little photo op over there, like, I'm with the war.
It's so effing lame. That's the gayest shit ever. But you're actually a tough guy, Matt. You're actually a brave person, going out and speaking out in public and
Yeah,
just
except
yelling
for
at meetings.
comedy shows.
Speak
I'm
out
like,
in public, but not at comedy shows unless you're specifically asked a question.
I got to remember there needs to be a list of things that maybe I could go through like a training. Okay, so
Yes,
now
I'll give you a
she's grooming
training.
you. You can respond once, but that's it.
Right.
And we move
If
on.
if a comic talks to you once, it doesn't mean you can talk whenever you want for the rest of the show.
Yeah. Being right there in the front, it was tricky too.
I
I mean, I was
know.
like
I
right
know.
there.
We could smell each
Yeah.
other. I know, but now I
In my
get it. I
insanity,
totally
I was
get
like,
it.
what if Lila wants me to come up and do a bit? What should I do it about? I could do my Biden impression.
Oh, we should have given next time we're in California, Matt, you're gonna do a guest spot. We'll give you advance notice.
We got a war here, Jack. We ain't got time for the goddamn Palestinians. I love the smell of strawberry.
There we go.
I love the smell of strawberry shampoo in the morning. Smells
That's
like
great.
ice cream. Anyway, it's not that good, but when you put
You're
the shades
ready.
on,
You're ready for
kinda,
the stage.
you know, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I need to work on my bits, but I got a few impressions I can do. Some
You're doing
Fauci.
great.
I get the
Yeah.
Fauci. You want to take the mask? Wear the mask.
You
That's
gotta
right.
wear two
Take-
masks.
Wear two masks. One
You know, it was
mask.
actually Tyler
the
Fisher's,
booster.
I think it was Tyler Fisher's birthday actually yesterday. I have to go wish Tyler Fisher a belated birthday. It
What
was
is
his
Tyler?
birthday.
What's Tyler
It was
Fisher? I
his
think
birth It's his birthday yesterday. He went viral for doing his Fauci impressions. He's a comedian also. He was in Gina Carano's Terror on the Prairie. He was one of the cowboys.
you know who
Cool
Sean
dude.
Farash is?
Yes, he does a really great Trump impression. Like
It's incredible.
one of the
Because
best.
I thought I could do a Trump until he did it, and I was like, I'm done. I can't even.
Yeah. You're
There's
like, I'm
no
not gonna
way.
bother trying anymore.
Yeah, you're like me, and Melania, you check out chloroquine, but he's got the growl and the everything.
Yeah, he
he's
hits
got the lips,
everything.
he's just like, it's
Okay, he
like,
talks
I
while
don't
he's
even
breathing in.
Trump. Yeah,
Yeah, he's so good.
Trump must trip out when he watches it, and then like when he's talking, I was like, I really do that. That's just crazy.
Yeah, he's like, wow, I'm getting easier and easier to deep fake. Wow.
I don't know how he does it.
I like
Sean
this.
Farash.
I love
He's got
this.
a cool
If you
show
like,
too.
if you like Gina Carano and getting caught in the rain, that's really funny. I can't believe no one's thought of that yet. That's good. Good job. Good job, chat. Anyway,
is that a super chat or something?
no, it was just a regular chat.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes
on,
I
should be
highlight the
super
funny
chat.
ones.
What's up? We're not funny
Yeah,
enough.
there's no
Break
super
out
chats.
the dough, gentlemen.
It's okay. Matt, we are officially friends now. You can't do anything about it. It's already happening.
Once you wear the shirt, it's over. You see,
It's on. You're a part of me
That's
now.
it.
Where can
Yes.
people follow you and find you? What's coming up? Any meetings that you're planning on going to?
Well, I'm still really, really pissed at Pfizer. Like you saw that I did that recent Pfizer protest thing after the.
Yes, let me pull that up.
Yeah, probably do that real quick, and then upcoming, I have a couple of ideas. Obviously, I'm on Twitter at slave_2_liberty, so slave2liberty underscores, and then on Instagram, I'm Matt Baker _unhinged, and then on band.video, I am slave2liberty, which is the InfoWars platform.
From San Diego, California. We are here at the Pfizer
How
location
many of these
here.
shirts do I have?
We are wondering if they may be possibly doing gain of function.
And then you're like there, and then and then you're actually right up against the window. You're able to get so close.
Yeah,
this just
and
like
then
the back of
they
the
kicked
building?
us off the campus. You didn't actually get to see, but the guy actually, we weren't filming, and we got a warning. Basically, they said we were trespassing.
Wow.
That's when
You're
I
like,
went to
"Man, we've been
bullhorn
kicked
mode
off."
afterwards. And but yeah, this is after the gain of function. So that's the security guard. I'm chasing him down right there.
Stop what you are doing! Put down the petri dish! Step away from the glove box!
And so that one you did by yourself, but then you did another protest
then I
with a bunch of people.
Alex Jones actually kind of he was like, because I was like, I can't believe there isn't more people out there doing this. He's like, okay, so you're having a protest. When is it? I'm like, okay. So now I got locked in to doing this protest. Normally
Oh
I don't
my
organize
God.
protests.
Look at this. Will work for CNN. Lori Lightfoot's
Ah,
out.
Lori
She didn't
Lightfoot.
just lose. She lost in an epic way.
And she
That
said
was
it was because racist
because
misogyny.
racism.
There's the Putin thing. Look, there's the Putin thing. You can see that.
Oh, is it this? No, it's this right here. Oh
One
my
I'll
God.
show you
knows
right there.
no bounds. We have a
This is outside a store?
Yeah, it's so creepy. It's like a BDSM. It's like
How
hanging almost like
weird.
for kids. It's really
dummy,
creepy.
which looks like some kind
This
of
is
BDSM
mental.
deal here, with Putin's face on it. You get to punch for a minimum donation of $1. You get to punch your.
What a mentally ill person to even put this together, make a sign. Like literally they either know someone at a gym that has this punching bag or they have one. They're like, you know what? I'm going to bring this in and make it a thing.
Most hated with your moment of rage. Very 1984 moment of rage action. Putin, you doing all right? You doing all right, buddy? Hey, everybody's hating on Putin, but you
Like hating on Putin, and they really they know
know,
very
he's
little
doing all right.
about what's going on.
Yeah,
Wow.
there it is. Support
And you get a
Ukraine.
support
Give
Ukraine
us
bumper
money. And
sticker.
who knows where that freaking money's going, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think
Does it
that
go right
money's
to the
actually
Ukrainer?
going?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Goes directly to Zelensky and he takes care of it, you know? So what do we know? Are we 120 billion in, or are we 150 already? I know they've said they're going to give a total of 150.
Yeah, they're so broke. They really need more money.
And if you remember when they were giving the money, there was some of the, not that all Republicans are great, but there were some Republican senators like, we need some oversight on what's happening with this money, and they voted specifically, there will be no oversight on the money. We will just funnel hundreds of billions of dollars into Ukraine.
Oh, as long as it takes, Biden said.
Yeah.
Just as long as it takes.
And
No
then,
end in
does
sight.
anybody remember when Biden said that he was going to give them $1 billion? He was going to not give them the $1 billion unless they fired the prosecutor for his son.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
And meanwhile, they blamed Trump for it. They're like, Trump is quid pro quoing. Quid pro quo means, will you do this, we'll do that. And Biden does it on camera in front of the whole world to get his son off.
Proud
and
of
he gets
it.
off scot-free. Scot-free. And then not only does he give them the $1 billion,
yeah, it was
he
the
later
$8
on gives them $150 billion with no end in sight. Zelensky now and his guys have come out and said, this is getting to my next point. Zelensky has now come out and said that they won't be happy until they have Ukrainian tanks, aka American tanks, on the Red Square. So they're not happy with just stopping it where it is, even though people who don't know, Ukraine actually was where Russia started. There's Russian-speaking people there. They were being beaten and bombed and attacked by the Ukrainians. And there was also a treaty that said that the NATO was never going to move forward and bring anything closer to Russia. That was the deal. They said they weren't going to do it, and they kept moving weapons in, weapons in, let alone all those bioweapons labs that were right there on the border. Never hear about those anymore. All those weird bioweapons labs. That was proven to be a fact. You can even look up the fact check on that. And so Putin finally snapped and said, you guys are like surrounding me. It's like a guy at a bar and he's like, pulls out the weapon, gets the thing. His guy comes up behind you. It's like, are you going to wait till they grab you? Or are you going to just punch the guy in the nose knowing he's coming for you? It's like he kind of had no choice. So it's funny that the so-called Democrats, left-wing people, used to be anti-war. They used to be anti-corporations. They used to be anti-government. But now they love everything, all propaganda on TV. They love big pharma. They love genetically modifying people with the mRNA vaccines. And they love war now, all of a sudden. So locally, that's
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're just mind control victims. They'll literally believe whatever the TV says. Like most of us, like critical thinkers, we watch TV and we're like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, we're not buying this. They're like,
They've done
absolutely.
a
This is
very
fully
good job
motivated.
with equating whatever they want people to believe. Like, you're a good person if you accept this. You're a good person if you repeat this. You're anti-racist if you accept this. You're not transphobic if you do this. And they're just like, oh, I want to be a good person. Whatever you say.
Yeah, it's pathetic. They're all pathetic.
Pathetic.
Oh my God, they're pathetic. So I was thinking my next thing, there's this park, really beautiful park, nice architecture close to me called Balboa Park. And they actually, last time I was there, just trying to go about my business. And I almost got triggered. I was almost going to jump in and start going off, but I was like, no, I'm just going to go out, have dinner with my lady. Just chill, be relaxed. Because they were having this big pro-Ukraine protest there with all the flags out. And they're like, people say we need more money. We have to have more money. You have to do this fight and you got to be part of it. And I don't know. Did you see this clip of Zelensky today? He was like saying that the Americans are going to have to die. I don't know if it was taken out of context, but he's like, yeah, Americans are going to have to fight, and Americans are going to have to die, and we're sorry.
We're gonna have to
but that's
send
just the way it is.
our daughters and sons over. They're gonna have to die. Sorry, deal with it. Yeah.
Or not. So my next thing I was thinking about maybe getting out there and holding a peace rally. I got a VW bus, and I might just wear a tie-dye and see if I can get all my local patriots to show up as hippies and get some
That's a good
flowers
idea.
and hand them to them. It's gonna be so hard not to yell at them, but I really want to be like,
Yeah.
we don't want your war, man. We just don't want your war, because it's just crazy how everybody is like, what do they think's gonna happen? Like, they have nuclear weapons. And they're sending these tanks over. Did you see when they sent the tanks over that they actually said USA on the gun barrels? Did you notice that?
Oh God, really? I knew that they
Yeah.
did send Ukraine 20 of our tanks, but
Yeah, and they showed them on the thing and they say USA, USA. So it's like they're like setting them up there to be little ducks so that when they get blown up, they can be like, look, they blew up the USA tanks.
wow.
And now we have to go to the next level. And there's no talk, no even discussion of any kind of peace talk or any deal or any like, could there possibly be a road to peace? It's just like, we're going to keep fighting until Putin, like they think Putin's just going to give up all of a sudden. I don't know if you know anything about history, but the Russians aren't good at giving up. They just don't do it. So it's like, they're going to be in that battle, and then we're going to keep being in that battle. Half of me thinks the whole thing is just fake and designed because Putin he was a young global leader too, along with Trudeau and all those guys that you actually hear. Klaus Schwab, he's like, well, actually, we penetrate the cabinets. For example, Prime Minister Trudeau and we have Vladimir Zelensky, and he mentioned how he had penetrated all of their cabinets in his famous speech. And then I think it's just interesting, like in the Great Reset, they want to get rid of oil, electricity, all these different things. They want to bring us back kind of like more Stone Agey and just like totally controlled in little mini cities.
Mm-hmm.
So what better way to get rid of, notice how these pipelines are getting blown up and these railroads are getting taken out. So now you have an excuse to destroy infrastructure. You say, well, America blew up our pipeline. So,
wow.
You got to wonder what's going on with all these train derailments and all these factories that are blowing up and
a
stuff
lot of
like
coincidences.
that. I mean, if it's real, I mean, if it really was an attack, I mean, they would have a right to do that. It's like we can't be like, we're not at war with Russia. I mean, yes, we fucking are. You're sending tanks, you're sending all the money. It's like, oh, I didn't kill my wife. I just hired a hitman to do it. It's like, dude, you paid the money. You're fucking guilty. You're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into weapons. You're sending it over. All of these weapons contractors making billions of dollars, trillions in the future. And you're literally getting caught blowing up their pipelines, and you think that there's no collateral damage, no blowback. Like if I was a Russian person, you'd be like, screw this, I'm going to blow up this thing, I'm going to do that. They need to get some guerrilla warfare happening. So whether this is actually happening and the government's keeping it quiet, or whether, like I say, it's just a cover so we can all blow our own infrastructures up and just blame it on the enemy so the people don't go with pitchforks and tear the people out of the. That's the conspiracy theory, you
That's
know.
interesting.
And then what about
though.
these balloons, man? Balloons.
Oh, they're just a big distraction. Oh God, a balloon! Don't look over there.
Yeah, I mean, and all of a sudden now notice too, because they're saying Russia and China, you know, are going to become friends, which is why Trump initially wanted to be friends with Russia, because we would be great homies. We would be awesome.
Great homies.
We have similar cultures.
Nobody wants to be
you know?
homies with Biden. Nobody wants to clean out his bedpan. Yeah.
So instead, now we drive Russia and China together, the two giant, that massive block of land. Like,
and we're just over here gay and trans.
Yeah, we're like, but we're gayer than you are. We're so gay. We're gay. It's just like, I mean,
the gay cousin.
It's the biggest joke, like what America has done to its persona worldwide. Like, people used to shake in their boots thinking about America. Now they just look at us and go, "You're ruled by Joe Biden. You let drag queens dance around and your kids. You cut your children's penises off. You allow strange women to berate you at comedy clubs. Look at you. Let us come.
You allow men with dreadlocks heckle you endlessly. No. You're a blast.
I just can't believe what we have allowed go on in this country and in this world. And at a certain point in time, people do have to unite. It's not really a left and a right thing. I think it's more like a
we the people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my slogans. It's we the sequel. It's on the top of my Twitter. It's like the round 2. Like, we have to come back as people and realize that we stand for the Constitution, for the Bill of Rights, for what it made America great, for our freedoms, not this police state, omnipresent control grid. It was our freedom. It was our ability to have jazz and Woodstock and do all these cool things. And not including cutting your kid's dick off, because that's total mind control and population control. That is.
What do you think of this? This is an interesting comment from Keegan. We're allowed to even say the lab leak theory because China is allied with Russia now.
Exactly. That's actually where I was going to go with that. And that this big, if that doesn't scare you, if this war really is going to actually pop off into a real war, and it isn't just like a WWF situation, like I was saying, where we're going to have like a limited warfare where we can blow each other's stuff up and make money off weapons. If we literally are in an existential threat, the fact that our government is now starting to, first of all, we hate Russia now, and now we're pointing the finger with the balloons and with the lab leak at China. Like, you really want to take on China and Russia? You think this is going to work out good, Pepe? I don't think so. So when people say, we bombed them and we did this, we have to remember that we, the people, are not the bastards in control of this government and the monetary system and the World Economic Forum and the World Bank and the Federal Reserve. Those are people that have stolen our country. They've stolen our identity. We, the people, need to take this country back, and we can do it. One man.
One man, one set of dreadlocks. Thank you, Silverlock, for the super sticker.
One comedian.
Matt, you're the best. Everybody follow Matt on Twitter at slave_2_liberty, on his Instagram at mattbaker_unhinged, and on band.video at slave2liberty. Thank you so much for coming on, Matt Baker. Thank you for heckling me at my show. We are friends now. Thank you to the chat.
Kisses.
For all your good comments and
Love
questions.
ya.
Kisses to you. Love ya. We'll talk to you soon.